Hello folks, and welcome to yet another over-the-ear episode of the Audiophile Man. Sennheiser, Meze, Grado, Beyerdynamic, Focal, Hi-Fi Man, Dan Clark, Odyssey, and more, many more specialist headphone companies out there demand your cranial attention, which is great and wonderful and rather exciting. So then, it goes without saying that if you're looking to buy a pair of headphones, it's almost foolish to even consider buying a non-specialist headphone brand, isn't it? Surely specialist brands know what they're talking about, and non-specialist brands don't. Why bother with a mere bandwagon jumper then, hey? Well, one answer is this, and it's a significant reason in this day and age: money. Often, non-specialist brands offer headphones for less than expected price points demanded by the specialist guys. Again though, as long as you're not one of these hi-fi users who desperately needs to pose alongside a specialist brand name, should you take a look at a non-specialist pair of headphones? What about the sound quality, for example? Well, you know what's coming, don't you? Yep, I grabbed a pair of headphones from a non-specialist brand. In this case, I grabbed a pair of wireless headphones with noise cancelling built in, called the BNXe with a lowercase e. These headphones are a penny short of £80, and they're from a company called Lindy. Now, Lindy is not known for its headphones. It's got one or two, but it's not known for them. It's generally known for its accessories. That is their core business. So they deal in USB and power cables, AV cabling, splitters, wall plates, cable extensions, converters, networking accessories, all of that and more. They even sell a few microphones. Yeah, and like I say, a couple of headphones as well. Weighing in at 460 grams, the foldable BNXe headphones, presented in black, are over-the-ear wireless designs, supporting Bluetooth 5.3. These headphone designs give you 40mm of dynamic drivers, and they sit within a chassis made from 100% recycled plastic, GRS, which stands for Global Recycled Standard, certified. And if eco matters are important to you, I like that. It's unusual and thoughtful, I would say. Vegan-friendly protein leather pads are included too. You also get a carry case if you fancy travelling. Battery life extends to a rather generous 55 hours off a single charge, or 32 hours with your noise cancelling on, which is a pretty decent pair of figures, I reckon. A quick 10-minute charge will also give you 4 hours of playback, which is ideal if you're off for a walk or a run and you haven't charged your headphones. You get a control app, and that's available from the usual sources, and with it you can tweak your EQ, you can mess about with your noise cancelling, and there's a very nice Find My Headphones feature, which will find your headphones if they have got lost, or if the cat has hidden them. On chassis buttons, and of course this is wireless so there are plenty of those, include ANC, your noise cancelling on or off, plus transparency mode to hear what's going on outside of your headphone bubble. A USB-C charging port is included, as are controls for power, volume, voice control, track, skipping, play and pause. These headphones arrive with a 2-year warranty. Now, before we get to the sound quality tests, let me just give you a few pointers for these headphones in use. In use, the headphones were easy to use and relatively comfy. I liked the option of having 2 separate buttons for volume instead of a single rocker switch. I don't know how many headphones I've tested and the volume is off a rocker switch. This is a small design decision, but it's very important to me. If your headphones have a volume rocker switch, I find it's easy to mix up the commands or to fail to input a definite button command at all, especially when you're on the move and doing other things like walking, and I can't do two things at once. Separate buttons are much preferred, at least in my case. Similarly, having a separate pause button between the two volume buttons is a sensible design choice in my opinion. Many headphones position the pause command right in the center of that volume rocker switch. Also, I love the fact that the noise cancelling button is on the opposite side of the ear cup, and this prevents you from button hunting and maybe changing the volume buttons when you're just trying to turn the noise cancelling on or off. In short, I love the interface on these headphones. The button design is logical and practical. Other commands include voice activation and taking incoming calls, and you use multi-button presses and extended button presses for those. And I like that hierarchy because to my mind, they're a bit lower in terms of priority. I also like the option to reduce latency if you happen to be a gamer or you're watching TV with these headphones. For the app, well, the app is very easy to use. Again, logical, straightforward. That Find My Headphones option works very well indeed. Tap it once, a map appears on your screen, and there are your headphones in all their glory. ANC can be selected here too. Also, if you tap the pause button, which is a big central button on the screen, a volume strip appears and you can drag that to higher and lower the gain, and you can track skip and you can pause. In EQ mode, and there's a button for that, moving from the default sound, there are an additional 8 sound modes. Let me quickly go through them. The option called Popular offers similar boost, I would say, to an amplifier's loudness switch. Bass boost, well, as it says on the tin. Folk reduces bass a touch compared to the popular mode. Classical gives you a louder yet relatively flat response. There's a country option, which is slightly unusual. That increases the gain, but sounds a little bit claustrophobic. Jazz centers the music around the stereo image, which I think might work well for older jazz tracks which are in mono mode. The soft bass option does just that, and soft pitch pulls the bass right back while keeping the gain high. As for me, well, I decided to review these headphones on default with EQ effectively turned off. Now, as part of this review, I tried connecting to different devices around my office, focusing on variety. Connecting to my Astel & Kern Can Alpha digital audio player, for example, was quick and easy. My iPhone took but a moment. The big problem devices I have found in terms of pairing headphones with devices, the big ones, the big issues are my MacBook laptop and my iMac desktop. Many headphones I review just refuse to look at them. Incredibly, well, for me, the Lindy headphones connected immediately to both. So that put a smile on my face. I even have a Samsung 4K TV AV setup in my office to test basic AV equipment, and the headphones connected straight away to that TV as well, after a couple of Samsung prompts, of course. So far, so refreshing. But the question is, how do these headphones sound? Well, let's have a little listen. To begin, I brought in my wireless reference from Sennheiser, a pair of HD 4.50s. Now, when I originally reviewed the Sennheisers, they were priced around, what, £170, which is more than double the price of the Lindys. Now, initially, I wanted to test lossy music, so a sound source with some compromises, just to see how the headphones coped. I used my iPhone, I used my iMac desktop, and away we went. I played Sight of You from the 4AD band Pale Saints. The HD 450s provided a direct, to the point, big bass, mids in your face kind of delivery, which is very nice, and I like it a lot. The BNXe headphones, though, they take a different route. If anything, the BNXes were more neutral and balanced. and I liked that even more. Bass was just as large, it was also still imposing, but it was better integrated into the mix. The mids were pulled back just a touch, but they retained high detail. All of that, integration, I suppose, meant that I could hear more music. The sound was zoomed out just a little bit, and that gave me a better view of what was going on. There is one point I must make. The BNXe headphones, well, they do need a bit of power to get going. Just be aware of that when you're matching your kit. They do need a bit of oomph to work well. Even so, my iPhone 15 was easily able to cope, even though I had to turn up the gain a bit. I then turned to 24-bit 96K music from the Doves via my Can Alpha, which also worked well with the Lindys in terms of gain, I have to add. Bass was big and bold and meaty, and again, that broad balance was retained, so none of the detail on offer was either missing or hiding. Turning to the Sennheisers with the Can Alpha, well, the headphones kind of lacked any bass character when compared to the Lindys. The soundstage sounded a little detached, I suppose. Turning back to the Lindys, and the Doves put on a real show, while the music had real impact. My next comparison, I suppose you could say, was a little bit unfair, because I brought in the Stax S3 headphones, retailing at review for a whopping £329. Now, I was not expecting the BNXe headphones, priced, around a quarter of that figure, to get anywhere near these beauties. But I did wonder what sort of fight the Lindys would put up. I played a track called In Your Face from Cat Power, which consists of vocals, piano, guitar, and a rather lazy conga drum. And yes, as expected, the S3s offered more space and air around the mids, greater tonal accuracy across all of the instruments, and more emotion around the vocal delivery. But I will say this, the Lindys were on the right lines. They were going in the same sonic direction, addressing the same issues. The Lindys were doing what the S3s were doing. It's just that the S3s were doing more of it. And for the price, you'd expect that. The Lindys sounded like a mini Stax S3. Budget S3s, if you like. Which, when you look at the respective prices, makes perfect sense. And that in itself is a great compliment to these Lindy headphones. And that's basically the review. Let me give you a few final thoughts. I'll give you some pros and cons as well, and a final rating. Well, I've got to tell you folks, I am surprised, shocked even, at just how good these headphones are. I was actually prepared to write them off as another Me Too release from a company looking to jump on a bandwagon. But no, the BNXe headphones couldn't be further from that image. Sensitively designed, well put together, with a solid, sensible and strong musical foundation. I'm keeping these value for money headphones as reference models for other future reviews. That's how much I like them. These little known, much ignored headphones, they are true giant killers. And that's your lot, folks. Thank you very much for staying to the end of this particular video. Down below, can you click on the like and subscribe buttons, please, before you go? In case you haven't done so already, of course. If you have done so, thank you very much. There are links down below for the Lindy headphones themselves, also my own bits and pieces, my website, which is packed full of stuff. It's been going a lot longer than this channel, so it's got a heap of material over there. My Patreon page, if you can support me on Patreon, it helps to keep this channel going. It funds this channel, so any support you can give me is very much appreciated. Lots of good stuff over there, lots of exclusives, so check it out. Also, my Facebook group, which you are welcome to join. I have one of those too. I'll be back on Friday, I reckon, probably with something musical. If not, if something happens, and that doesn't happen, if you know what I mean. Saturday, I'll be here with a hi-fi news, etc. video. So I hope to have your company either way, or even both. Until then, folks, bye-bye for now.